Extra time. Read all about it. I got your questions in front of me. You got Stevie Nicol and Shaka Hislop. Frank Leboeuf, Stewart Robson also on board. Lots of discussions point out, Adam, on CR7's decline, but he's clearly still a complete goal scorer when it comes to playing for his country. Don't you think that Maurizio Sarri's football is in the decline rather than Cristiano Ronaldo? Don't you think?
I mean, you can't compare the two. I think the football that Sarri's teams played in Napoli, Chelsea and Juventus have got nowhere close to that. I think you can definitely say that. CR7, 100%, is a penalty box predator now of the highest order.
I think the thing is, as much as we say that CR7 is in decline, and whether we're not seeing that just yet, we're leaning on Messi, will at some point. The trouble is, those two are just so much better than everybody else. That even when they're in decline, you're comparing them to their former selves.
Yeah.
So they're still so much better than everybody else.
Robbo, does Adam have a point, though? Is it Sarri's football that's in decline? It was sparkling at Napoli, then a backward step with Chelsea.
Yes, Sarri was good at Napoli. He played some great football. Higuain, they got the best out of Higuain and the way they play with Insigne and Mertens and those sort of players. At the moment, Cristiano Ronaldo is not playing at his best. But up until probably 6 weeks ago, I thought he was a better player for Juventus than he was in his last couple of years at Real Madrid. He's just gone off the boil, whether that's an injury or loss of form. I don't think it's anything to do with Sarri at the moment. He's just lost his form and he may have a slight injury. He'll come back if he gets himself fully fit and gets his confidence back up. He'll still be a great player for Juventus come the end of the season.
Robbo, one addressed to you from Quantico. Stuart, England's removal of Raheem Sterling seems pretty pointless. Was this them looking at the situation saying they didn't need him?
No, I think he had to make a stand. Gareth Southgate has got clear ideas how he wants to run his team and how he disciplines players, and he knows he's going to play in the next game against Kosovo. He left him out as a sort of a telling him off slightly, and that's the way it's going to be. And it's all done and dusted, and Sterling will be a key man for England come the European Championship.
Shaka?
Now, I have to say, I stand with Gareth Southgate here in how he handled it. Southgate has been a big defender of Raheem Sterling in the past, a big supporter of him and certainly his talents, his performances. And he felt that something needed to be said and done, and did that. And Raheem Sterling seems to have taken it on board in the right way. I just think that, maybe it was a good opportunity to do that. If it was right before, a World Cup semi-final, maybe you might not make the same decision. But you send the message, and I think it was received.
Well, you boys said it yesterday, didn't you? You and Craig. If they played Germany, you don't think Sterling would have been on the sidelines?
They were playing Germany, as Shaka said, in the semi-final of the World Cup. There's not a chance that he doesn't play. Right. It was an easy decision. Some might think it's right. Listen, if it does some good, then fair enough. But I don't think it makes any difference to Sterling whatsoever.
Stuart, you're hogging the questions. William wants to know your Premier League player of the season so far.
Well, you could go with Mane, you could go with the way Vardy's been playing, but I'm going to go with a player from the top side, which is Liverpool at the moment, and a player that links everything up. He's not a flashy player. Fabinho has done everything right for Liverpool, playing in that holding midfield role. He's protected his two centre-halves. He's switched the play out to the fullbacks so they can get forward. He's got in the space behind fullbacks. He's made the right runs at the right time. He scored his goal against Man City. I'm going to go with him as the Premier League player of the season so far.
You like that, Stevie?
Absolutely, yeah.
Not going to disagree?
Disagree with that. I think he's definitely taken over from Fernandinho as the best defensive midfielder. Probably not just in the Premier League, but in football right now.
I promised you a little Frank Leboeuf, didn't I? And I wasn't kidding. Frank feeling a little left out. But Ashish with a question for you. Frank, I know you were there at the Stade de France watching France beat Moldova. Favourites for Euro 2020, says Ashish. Frank, who do you have? France are the bookies' favourites.
Well, according to what I saw tonight, I won't put France. That's for sure. I wasn't the nicest game ever. I keep on saying that the Netherlands could be the favourites. I think Stevie would agree with me, and because they have a fantastic team, and nobody wants to play nowadays against the Netherlands. So I would put the Netherlands and after France.
I agree 100%.
You were all over
Frank.
the Netherlands, weren't you?
Well, listen, it's very difficult to try and predict what teams are going to be, what their form's going to be 6 months, 12 months down the line, and as bad as France are right now, you can only go on the way teams are playing, and right now, I'm with Frank.
Belgium,
The Dutch
I
are
go
cruising.
Watch the Netherlands lose to Northern Ireland now in qualifying.
We have a Dutch producer, and God help us if the Dutch win it. So I'm back in Belgium.
Right. Belgium. Robbo, favourites for Euro 2020 right now?
This has to be Belgium's chance.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Belgium. Roberto Martinez if he can get the team playing at its very best, they've got a great chance to win it.
Robbo, Spurs fan next for you. It's not about Spurs at all. What has Frank Lampard done differently to Jorginho? He can actually get assists with his passes now! Exclamation mark.
Yeah. Absolutely. What he's gone in there and he said, I've watched you play last season and the season before and at Napoli, where you were very much a 10-yard passer of the ball and you pass square and backwards. Now I want you to play forward. We're going to have runners going forward. I want you, whenever you get the ball, to look forward. And that's what Jorginho's done, and he's now showing that he can pass the ball forward. I still have doubts about him as a defensive player, but in terms of getting on the ball and making things happen, he's done really well for Frank Lampard.
Did I tell you all that I taught Frank Lampard everything?
Everything, you know, as a young whippersnapper at West Ham.
I moulded him into the player and coach that he's become. Yeah.
He was under the Hislop.
That's me. That's all I do.
Yeah, he's got a number plate with lamps written on it, has he?
Well, nobody asked you anything. Nobody asked you anything, Stuart.
Frank, a different Jorginho we're looking at. What has Frankie Lampard done?
I think he gave him the confidence, he gave him a leadership, he trusted him, and I guess it's enough for a good player to be better and to show that he's able to do what we are expecting from him. But again, I agree with Stewart. I want to know defensively if he can do better.
Well, we don't know the answer to that question, do we? Stewart, you can give us the answer to this question instead. Maximus, Stewart, did it bother you being the third most famous Robson in English football?
Well, it was, at the same time, there was Bobby, who was the England manager at the time, there was Brian Robson, the England captain, and there was me that was going to be the next Brian Robson, apparently, but didn't quite happen. So, yes, it did bother me a bit.
It did bother me. There was Pop Robson as well.
He got halfway there. He got halfway there with his surname.
Pop Robson was the before.
Robson was a
He was one of those proverbial...
didn't have any hair.
The side over.
Yeah, the side
Yeah, but Pop Robson was one of...
I don't know what you're talking about.
If I'd have played till I was 35, I'd have had that.
Exactly. Well, back then when Pop Robson played, right, it wasn't the style to cut it all off. Right. So even though he only had hair growing this side, right, what he would do, because there was none on the other side, he'd throw it over. So it was a complete and utter one of them.
Yeah, there were a few of those back in the day. Peter Noble wasn't there. He had it wrapped around his head, didn't he?
Oh, he was a wee guy in Burnley. Bobby Charlton, aye.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ralph Coates.
Nah.
Ralph Coates.
Ralph Coates, yes! Seriously, hey, anybody, you've got to look at these. It's fantastic.
We should do a special on
and particularly Bobby.
There's a great photo of Bobby Charlton. He's got a big swoosh over and he goes to head a ball and it's up there.
I saw a picture of Bobby Charlton once. He'd actually scored the goal and he used to do the same celebration, right? He would jump up in the air and both feet would be off the ground and one hand would be there, the other hand would be like that, getting ready to push it. So he'd be like that, yeah! And as he landed, he finished off with a thingy.
There's an ESPN 30 for 30 special in there somewhere on that. Follically challenged footballers.
Footballers are comb over.
Well, they just never used to.
If Frank had been playing at that time, he'd have had a swoosh over as well.
No!
Yes.
Mr. Leboeuf? No, surely not.
He's more stylish than that, Frank.
No.
Yeah. How did yours go, Frank? Did yours go from the back forward, or the forward back, or the side in? Or,
From the forward to the back. From the forward to the back. Yeah. I'm very young.
Yeah,
very young.
But you just shaved it all off the moment it started to go, didn't you, Frank? No hesitation.
Exactly. Well, yeah. In 96, Gianluca Vialli did.
Right, said Fred. Frank, Stewart, guys, thank you. More more follically challenged footballers tomorrow, perhaps,
Maybe.
on the show. Perhaps. We'll see you then.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.